Hello, hello. Today is May 21st. It is time for our bi-weekly chat with Norm Winski. He's got some important stuff on his calendar today, so Norm, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for having me on, Jeff. We're going to review what we said back on May 10th, Monday, May 10th. Gave you some dates coming up that were going on right then and in the next several days, and the planets and the markets, what they were going to be hopefully doing. So on the 10th of May, we had over the weekend of the 7th, we had Venus at 0 north latitude. By the way, if you want any further explanation on any of these technical terms, give me a call and I will explain them. But we're kind of limited on time here, so I have to kind of zip through here now. So Venus is one of my top things is when the planets get to 0 latitude, and Venus did that over the 7th weekend. And so we had several markets make turns there on Monday the 10th. And Venus is associated with cattle, copper, cotton, stock, sugar, wheat. We had Neptune to the U.S. natal chart. That's what the natal chart is. We take a snapshot of when the country of the USA was founded on July the 4th, 1776, and compare to the current planets. And anytime we have that, we look at U.S. stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. And we had the moon's north node line up with Pluto for a change in trend for cocoa, coffee, hogs, silver stocks, and T-bonds. Then we had, that was the afternoon of the 11th, and then the afternoon of the 11th also, we had a new moon in the sign of Taurus, the bull, at apogee. That's when the moon is in its monthly cycle, is at its farthest point from the Earth, and that on the moon and the moon and the apogee only line up every about 14 months, and so that's called a micromoon, and it's the opposite of supermoon, which is when the moon is like a full moon or new moon at perigee. We'll be having something like that, and we're going to talk about it in just a little bit. And that's coming up. Important changes in trend for financials, grains, precious metals, cattle, and cotton. Because it was in Taurus, the bull, we'll be looking at cattle and cotton. Then we had Jupiter to the U.S. chart for U.S. stocks, T-bonds, U.S. dollar. Then we had geocentric, that's from the point of view of the Earth. Jupiter go into Pisces, the big liquid sign, which that's for oil and stocks. Stocks respond to everything. The moon to Pluto, moon's north node to Pluto. That's cocoa, coffee, hogs, silver, stocks, T-bonds. And then over the weekend of the 14th, we had Mercury. There's a Mercury maximum elongation. Has to do with the relationship between the Earth, Sun, and Mercury. Got to an extreme there at that point. And then Mercury is corn, soybeans, and wheat, and also the stocks respond to everything. So now we're going to look at these different points and how the markets responded. Here's the cattle on our Venus point there on the 10th. If you sold the opening, you were a little bit early, and so that's a miss with a red arrow. But the next day on the new moon in Taurus, that was really good because you were very close to the top there. Top the next day just a little bit higher. Here's the copper. We caught the high of the month on copper, and this was near all-time highs for copper. You had to go back 8 or 9 years to be at these type of prices on copper, and that was the high, and it's been coming down quite a bit since then. And by the way, sort of related to copper in the housing market, everybody was talking about the price of lumber the past couple of weeks. Lumber topped right on the 10th there. I think maybe the Bitcoin made a big top there too that day. So these planets are very, very powerful in influencing the markets. Here's cotton is just past the top there on the cotton, so you would have possibly sold there. Made a little bit of money. We came into the moon though, and that wasn't so good because it just went sideways and then lower. So you probably would have got stopped out, hopefully for a small loss. Always use stop losses. Cut your losses short. Here's your sugar pulling back into our Venus point there, and that was a nice trade there. Sugar rallied about a whole handle, which is $1,120 over to about 2-3 days. And there's your cocoa pulling back into our Pluto point there, and that rallied up a couple of I think about a handle or two there. About 2 handles. That's about $2,000 in cocoa. And then you made a high here right after that. I had that arrow there just after that top, and there we got out there and gone short and made a little bit of money going down for that about a day. Here's your coffee. We had a miss right there on our Pluto point in Capricorn, That's coffee, is Capricorn. And then we got down here to a second Pluto point, and that was good. So we went 50-50 on the coffee. Pretty good on the hogs here. We pulled back into our Pluto point there. Hogs had a nice sharp pop up for one day on the hogs. And over here we caught it. We were looking on the pullback here. We would have bought just ahead of that low there, very close to the bottom, and then up and away for the piggies, Here's your silver, topping right on the moon. And then we had the moon's north node is connected to silver right there for that nice low there. And then a nice big run up for silver. Here's the gold, topping right on the moon. And there we go. Here's crude oil. Had a sharp pullback into our Jupiter in Pisces. That's oil. And look at that. The bottom. Well, here was the actual low here. It was just a little bit higher there on the next day. And then it had a nice run. Here's the corn topping right on the moon. And then down into our Mercury point. And that was the bottom. We basically had near the top and near the bottom on the corn. Here's your beans. We were sold there on the moon, and then it popped up just a little bit higher the next day, and that was it. Then we had another Mercury point here, and the beans just kind of went sideways, so yellow means we take a pass. We're doing nothing there. And here's your wheat. Similar thing. We popped up into the moon. We kind of went sideways there for the Mercury point, so we did nothing. Here's the S&P. Lots of points for the S&P. We have the 2 points here over the 7th weekend into Monday, and that was a nice top there. Then we came down. We were a little bit early price-wise on the 3 points we had here between the 11th and the overnight of the afternoon of the 11th and the night of the 11th, and so you would have probably got stopped out there for hopefully a small loss, and so we got to mark those as misses. But then we were okay, kind of okay here, going up onto into the 14th. The night of the 13th, I guess. Opening of the 14th. We were near the top there, and then the next day, then the 17th, when we had this point here, which was our gain point, which I'll show you what that is in a minute. I'm not counting that because I did not give that to you back when I was last on here, but we're going to get a gain lesson here in a minute. There's another gain point there, which I'm going to show you how I do that. It's in the letter, sent it out on the Sunday night, May the 2nd. My clients have that, and I further elaborated on that on my nightly emails. Here's T-bonds. We had this date here right past that spike high there, and then we went down. We had similar thing here a little bit early on the T-bonds, so we had to mark these 3 points as misses. But we were one day past that low there on the T-bonds. Very nicely done on the dollar here with straddling that bottom right there with 3 points. Here's the Aussie dollar. The currencies dance to the moon. There you go. There's the Aussie dollar making it top on the moon. Here's the British pound making it top on the moon. Here's the Canadian dollar one day early on the moon. And here's a euro going kind of sideways, so we did nothing there. So we add up the green arrows and the red arrows. Oops, green arrows, red arrows. 30 winners, 9 misses out of 39 for 76.92%. Okay, now we're going to look at one of those G's that were on the S&P chart. If you don't know, Mr. Gann is considered by many to be the greatest market technician of the 20th century. His primary timing tool was astrology, but he also did quite a few other things. He was big on math and numbers, and he believed that square numbers have special properties. So, for example, 9 is 3 times 3. That's a square number. So, for example, on May the 17th, that was 14,161 days, which was 119 squared from the major low in 82, August the 9th, 82. That was the low day that began the big bull market. It ran all the way from 82 to the dot-com bubble in early 2000. Then we also had, let's go look at that chart again real quick. I'm going to zip back there now. All right, one more chart. There's your 17th, that Yan date, that I call it market math, that nailed that top right there. See that? Take a mental picture. There's the 19th. That's the next one we're going to look at. That was the low we had just 2 days ago. We bottomed at about 10:15 in the morning Eastern time. And let's see, let me get back there again. Oh, there we go. So May 19th was 12,321 days. which 111 square days from August 25th, 1987, which was the high day in 1987, which then 2 months later led to the crash of 87. So that was another major date, and you see how I do that. If you want any more information on that, give me a call. Here we go. Coming up this weekend, this is Friday afternoon, the 21st. This weekend, we have Saturn turning retrograde. That's a big deal. One of my top things when planets turn direct, the opposite is turning direct. And Saturn has to do with coffee. And because it's in Aquarius, that's copper. And then we have stocks. Be looking for extremes in these markets. If they're going sideways, don't do anything. It's Newton's law for reaction. There's an equal opposite and equal reaction. Then the night of the 25th, we will have a total lunar eclipse in Sagittarius at perigee. That's a three whammy. That's a triple whammy. That rarely happens when you get a total eclipse. Perigee is when the moon is at its closest to the Earth. They have three different cycles all converging at the same time. And we're going to be rounding up our usual suspect, your financials, range, precious metals. Something big is likely to happen right around there. Could be into the morning of the 26th. Then the night of the 26th, we have Uranus to the U.S. chart. Then the weekend, Memorial Day weekend, we have Mercury turning retrograde and Mercury at 0 south latitude. That also is a rare convergence of two Mercury cycles. So that could be really huge for your grains, corn, soybeans, stocks, and wheat. All right, so there we go. And so, let's see, here's your chart for the lunar eclipse that we had, super lunar eclipse we had back on, the last one was Sunday night, September the 28th, 2015. And here's the chart. On that Monday morning, we had a big gap down, and that was a big bottom there. And you see the huge rally we had after that. So don't ignore that. You know, that's pretty impressive if you ask me. So how do you get a hold of Norm? You can be happy to answer your questions or call me. And I'm running a special this month. If you mention Jeff, you might convince me to send you my May letter, the rest of May, for free. Give me a call here in sunny Florida, 239-594-3939. Here's my email, nwinski@embarkmail.com, or call me on Skype at nwinski_1. Looking forward to helping some of your folks, Jeff. Everybody have a great weekend.
Norm, that's terrific. As always, I'm going to circle the dates on my calendar, and we'll look forward to seeing you back in a couple of weeks.
Sounds great, Jeff. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye.